Good evening and welcome to my very simple homemade studio. I'm sorry folks, that's the best thing I really can accomplish for the time being. As you know, I do have a lot of troubles with my electricity and with my technology, and I'm just happy I managed to make this. I'm just happy I managed to make this now, because I haven't been able to film anything before, or take photos or anything like it. So I will today I was thinking about telling you about my latest week, actually, what I experienced the last week. I don't know, I will briefly tell you what's happening, what just happened to me. I've been out for this awakening, as everybody speaks of, and it was I wasn't aware of it was a complete movement on the YouTube. I was stunned, I find this truth movement, but I've been researching the elite system, the system we're living in right now. I've been researching it before, but I didn't dig deep into it. The first time it was when I became a Christian in the 90s, in the beginning of the 90s. And as you all know, we didn't have internet, at least it wasn't public by that time. I had never heard of it. I hardly used a computer, only sometimes in the schools. The schools didn't really use it where I was going to school in a way. So I became a Christian, and there was this new pastor, quite young, and his wife. They came about the same time I became a Christian, and I became a friend. They became my friends. And well, what's happened was that he introduced me to this Illuminati system. I'm not sure he called it, yes, I think he called it the Illuminati. And I started to read a lot of books, mostly about I don't remember about the geopolitic way it was constructed and became regime during the history. But I did read books about the Masons and about I remember I read about the Muslims as well. That's another story. It's not anyway, these two were the ones I was most interested in a way. And of course it was now I remember what I actually sorry, what I actually was into was this how the big corporations were coming forward to kind of, it was mind-blowing for me by then to see this, how this, I didn't know about this, I know my pastor, he actually told me about it. He told me it was it was Colgate, it was Pampers, it was, they were all the same in a way, and I don't remember now. Afterwards, I kind of realized, because I started to buy Pepsodent, it's another toothpaste. I started to buy the second big marks in a way, but then afterwards I realized it was like Coke and Pepsi in a way. I probably started drinking Pepsi as well, but since I heard the Coke was part of the corporation. I don't know. I don't really remember, because I went so astray from God, and I still had my faith, but I went astray. I grew up. I traveled. I moved away. I moved to Stockholm first to attend a college and start to study journalism and media, and in Stockholm in the 90s. It was kind of, well, it was as the young people today, they want to become influencer on YouTube and YouTubers and bloggers and this. It was kind of to become on TV. Everybody wants to be on the TV. I didn't really want to admit it, I think, but I believe. Well, I was actually interested in acting at first, and I applied to some different college, and I was traveling around in Sweden and doing this test, you know. They tested you if you had to go there and to act and they made interviews with you. You had to answer questions, some tests in the place and so forth. And I remember I was accepted to quite a few of the places I applied to, but there were, from the beginning was 3, but then I put one away because it was only 1 year and the other one was full education way. And then it was between an education in acting, and that was it was kind of in a cooperative. They were living in a in a collective way, a bit outside one town of Sweden, not as big as Stockholm. The other one, it was in Stockholm, and it was quite famous, and I was flattered that I was accepted, because they only accepted 12 students every year, and it was in it was for television in a way, and a lot of people they had by contacts, by from, it was good education as well, so it was kind of known that it was the mostly people were hired from this college in Sweden in a way. And I came there, and where was I going with this now? Actually, I wanted to tell you, I drifted away from my faith, and I was caught up in this want to be famous environment in a way. But then in the beginning I was kind of fighting for it as well. I was into this you wanted to be the best one. As long as it was in the school, it was okay. You wanted to be the best one in everything. But then it came to, we were going to have a training, and we were going to find the places ourselves. And I noticed that the people kind of stabbed each other in the back, almost friends and everything, just to take the best place. And I just got fed up with everything. So I had an exception, because I told my teachers that I didn't intend to continue with journalism, and I wanted to have my practice in a theater as a director, because we learned how to become directors as well. And I kind of told them that I wanted to see how it was, the difference between to be a film director and or a television producer, or a director on the theater. So I was actually an assistant director on the theater for one semester. The last semester it was, and but then I went back, because I realized I did take courses in a lot of courses, and even some a master class one summer in acting, and I realized it's the same everywhere. If you want to, especially in these places where, you know, the people fighting to get famous. It was not my intention from the beginning. I was genuinely interested in the media, in journalism, and in acting as well as music. I study music as well. I like to sing, but unfortunately I kind of left that. I used to play the flute and some guitar, and I stopped it was when that was when I was a kid actually, and I continue a bit, but I can continue singing, but I kind of left the playing. So I was interested in this, but then I got caught up in this. It got to me, like everything. It always gets to you. Yeah, I mean, it is the two forces in a way, between good and evil. It's always there. And God, He put gifts in us, and talents and skills and everything. And then it comes this force, the destructive force in a way. And especially when it comes to this in the media, in the acting, music, everything like that, it's you can't succeed almost if you are not only if you become a teacher or something. And I was never good in teaching, and you can't kind of work. There are some people like that, but there are not many. And I think it's it's difficult to be content just to work like that. I think it would kind of eat you. I think if you, maybe there are a few they manage, but I think usually it kind of eat, especially when you are young. I think it's kind of eat you up when you see all these people getting famous, successful, and so forth, and you yourself, you are satisfied with this to be a C celebrity, or not even that, E celebrity or something. You are not even, I don't know what you call the ones not that are not known at all. Anyway, I continue at the university to study political science afterwards, and when I was abroad I studied war history and complex solutions in a way. And but then I got married. I started work as a cabin attendant, and I went along another way. So I kind of drifted away, and I forgot all this about what I was interested in this with the elite, how the society was built up and constructed. And it was like it was wiped away down in my subconscious. I just accepted what they were feeding me at the university and at the college as well, and buried my knowledge, the thing I learned about the alternative way of thinking in a way, and the true way that I realize now. But I just bought it. I got into it, and I thought I was very smart. I mean, clever. I could think critical, and it was just the way it's supposed to be. When I compared different way of thinking, I never ever put in that way of thinking, even threw everything on the side. And so I and then I got a bit sick, and I kind of started to be at the computer a lot, and I started to watch this thing again. I was led to it. I don't know, I didn't search for it or anything. I discovered YouTube in a way, because I was not much into the YouTube or the social media before, and I just find it. And I remember then I was into it for quite a while, because a lot of this with the technology, where we're at and the RFID, that's what's really, now I don't know. I mean, there are so much technology, so you don't really know what is what is going to be the mark in this. I believe that all the technology is the greatest weapon that the devil has got these days. But by that time, that was the thing that caught me, the RFID chip, because that was just a theory in the 90s. And now here it was. I mean, I saw it, they showed it. I think, yeah, there were even people, a few people by then, now it's small, but by then there were even a few people, they had this chip implanted. And I couldn't believe it. And then there was a lot of other things. I mean, I just saw it, especially how it followed the scripture, the Daniel, Ezekiel, the book of Revelation. Everything's just adding up. But that time my YouTube actually started to act weird, so I stopped. And then some personal stuff happened to me again, not even a year ago. And I got into it again, it just happened. And, well, that blew my mind, and especially CERN and Astana. Astana is just weird. I don't know. I want to dig into that more as well. I know that there are some weird stuff being going on with the president and the connections with the United States government. I believe Hillary was there, or I'm not sure of that, but I didn't go into too much because there are just so much mind-blowing things that I'm digging into now, and everything just adds up. It just follows. I mean, it's not even hidden any longer. You can find the sources. And the people, I think the people can't be bothered. If they are a little bit older, I mean over maybe 30, 35, they just can't be bothered. And especially not if they are, let's say, in their 60s, 70s. I mean, my mother, for instance, she just changed subject when I tried to explain to her. But then again, she was never into this political development or anything like that. And the youth, oh, that's the most scary part. They are just born into the system, and they are so indoctrinated, and they have this just injected in them in the way that if you start to say something, they know what is the conspiracy theory. They know what it is. They've been feeding that as well. So if you tell them something from the truth, how everything is, they tell you immediately, now you're a conspiracy theorist. And that's very sad. That's very, very sad. And I don't know, I don't really know how to get our youth, the generation we're in, the youth back. We need to get to the youth. That's so important. Somehow we need to get to them, because we can't lose the whole generation from now on and forward. I mean, that's very sad. And I'm guilty of it. I mean, I have two sons, teenage sons. And I mean, I so regret now that that I wasn't more strict to them more. But I didn't know, I didn't even know to myself. I didn't realize. I put them in a Christian school, and I thought that was enough, in a way, for their ethical education and to bring in the Christianity in them, but it was not. And there is always prayers, and God, He hears our prayers. Always, even if we don't feel it at the time, He always hears our prayers. Anyway, now these days I've been digging into my old books from the university, and I look at them with different eyes in a way. I look at them critical, but I have another frame to put around it that I didn't have in my mind before. And it still adds up. Everything just adds up, even though they try to indoctrinate you in a certain way to put you into this system. It still adds up. I mean, if you just read behind the lines and you see all these people, they choose very carefully what event, whom they're going to put in the history books. That's, you can see it now. It's they carefully choose. For one simple example, during the Enlightenment in the 17th, what you say in English, 18th century, I think you say. Voltaire and Rousseau, for instance, they were so completely, they are so transparent right now, like to be this dialectic way of thinking. And I realized that what they do, because I was kind of angry for a while here in Sweden, they are they are just now open the borders for refugees. And I mean, we're supposed to help each other. I don't want anyone to suffer from war or anything, but that's become a big issue in Sweden because the welfare been going completely down. It's we don't have any welfare any longer, no security system whatsoever, and they create these groups against each other. And all the things you could see in the media, it was either you were very political correct and you were fighting for the rights of the refugees, calling all people that had any critique to come with for racists or full of prejudices, uneducated, I don't know, or everything. And then you had on the other side the far right that were very strong nationalists, that actually both sides come, I don't know what is the truth of all the stories they put out there, but I mean, I know that they both came up with stories that were not truth. They were just putting them out in the social media and in the mainstream media to frustrate people in a way. But for instance, the far right, they put out this about foreigners committing crimes and horrible crimes. Sometimes they were not even true. But of course, we get more crimes from foreigners, since that's the way it is. They coming here, they don't. If you come as a foreigner to a foreign country and they are designed. They are groomed. Everything is designed to create these people, and I was so angry because I couldn't believe, and I was kind of stupid. I see myself as then. I couldn't believe how there were no other people that could see both a middle way in a way. I mean, without to go to the far right or to go to the far left to be completely politically correct. But now it's so obvious. Of course, it's the media again. They putting out these stories. Only these stories. these are the stories they expose in a way, that they take in, that they show from the two different dialectic groups. It's so obvious. And what else? Well, today I was going to a bookstore because I happened to buy one book at the book sale. Elena Ferrante. She became very famous from her book, My Fantastic... I don't know what's called in English, although I bought the English book today because I couldn't find it in Swedish, but I kind of read it, and I didn't think I would like it, and if I like it, I don't know the story, I don't know, but it was this, you turn the pages and you can't stop in a way. I got into it, it caught me. So it was well written, and then it finished, and I was kind of surprised. I was when the book finished, because I didn't realize it was going to an end. It just finished in a very exciting, cliffhanger. And when I was in that bookstore, I kind of look at all this book about political science, about society, sociology, and as I looked at them, some biographies as well, I kind of start to think, maybe it's me, maybe I'm get caught up with this, almost like a cult, this maybe there is no elite, maybe everything is, or we are evolve in an organic way. I mean, there are, of course, there are some on the top, some corporations and big, this pharmacy business and this, but I mean, I was thinking maybe I read too much into it, and I start to think I have to see it both ways. I have to start to look a bit more critical on this matter, I was thinking. And again, I bought another book. I bought quite a few other books, but it was this one book that kind of stupid in a way, because it's fall into this category that you see through it. They just want to sell how to get things done, how to reach your goal, and these kind of things. But this was how to simplify life, and I kind of had this problem lately. I don't know how I ended up there, but I do things I can't organize myself. I find myself doing things that doesn't lead anywhere. I'm supposed to do something and I end up doing something else, and also I got caught up. I got too much things around me, and I need to clean it out. And I moved here 4 years ago. I moved to another apartment, to this new apartment, and I threw a lot of things away. And as I came here and it was all fresh, new, I felt so light, happy. I was thinking I will never collect a lot of stuff. I will, because you feel loaded in a way. So I find this book, and I briefly read about it, and I saw it was like to make lists, and I love lists. I make lists all the time. I never follow them though, but and to think simple. I didn't read it. That's why the whole purpose by buying it. And there was some alarming things though. It was a bright yellow book, and on the front side there was a hand doing the peace sign in a way, and I wouldn't have thought about it just a while ago, but since I now got into this with the symbols and this stuff, I kind of recall that somebody said this was an occult symbol. And I'm not sure. I don't believe, maybe the author didn't have that in mind. I don't know. I didn't read the book, as I said. But, and I felt this intuition. And I believe we as Christians, I have to get this out, we as Christians, we need to start to trust our intuition to be from God. Because I believe that, the gut feeling, I believe that's the way He's showing us in this confused world. Not the things you feel in yourself you should do, but your gut feeling, this, that just pops up out of nowhere, and you feel, even whether you like it or not, it goes against your will sometimes, what you want to do. Well, I got this gut feeling that I shouldn't buy this book. But I ignored it, and as I was going home, I was at the bus, I started to read through the book a little bit. I saw where they show the chapter in a way, and they were all every chapter was called the pyramid of, and I was thinking, it doesn't sound good, the pyramid of, but again I was like ignoring it. I said to myself, well, it's just a coincidence. They didn't mean anything about it. It's an easy way to make a structure, in a way, the pyramid. Do you know what's most important or what's on the top? Or I don't know how they made it finally, because I didn't read the book. So I was like pushing it to the side. But then I started to read on the first chapter. It was called The First Night. And that made me change my mind and to act a bit differently. Because as I read it, it said, dream that you are in, that a figure, I think it was said, a creature, is coming to take you by the hand and moving you up. And then I was pulling the book together, and as I went off the bus, I threw the book. Because sometimes, okay, I could have read it in an educational manner, but I felt that was not what I was supposed to do. So I just threw it away. And and as I came home, I was like going through my day in my mind, and I noticed, how stupid am I? Of course, you have to think critical, and sometimes there are a lot of stuff that I'm not sure of. There were a lot of stuff that I could never believe to have any truth in, like vaccination. I thought it was all hoax, a bunch of crazy people going against the vaccinations. How indoctrinated aren't we? How could I have known? And even though I sometimes believe myself to be a victim of some years ago, I was taking this injection. My kids took it in school, and the nurse, she asked me, do you want? Because it was for the flu. It was I don't remember what was the name of the flu, but it was, there was an alarm over the world, and everybody, they were lined up to take this shot. And I wasn't really thinking about myself, but then as she asked me, I just said, all right then, it can't harm, I was thinking, because by then I wasn't awake at all. And then it's like an attack, how they can attack the vaccinations, and it's a threat as well, because a lot of us are vaccinated. Most of the people, they would have been considered really mad. I think they would may report to the social services, to the parents, if they didn't let their kids be vaccinated. I actually believe that. I don't think there are, I never heard of any people that didn't take the vaccination shot. I heard of the Jehovah's Witness. They refused to take blood, and they actually made a law that they could have a court order to kind of been taking away their parenthood over the kid if there was danger for the kid's life, and if the kid needed blood. And I don't oppose to that. I mean, I think maybe that's necessary. I mean, that's about life and death in a urgent matter in a way. But I mean, now I'm quite sure that there are bad stuff in the vaccinations. Why shouldn't it be? I wasn't believing it. I wasn't sure about the chemtrails, but I didn't really believe in them, and now I do believe in them. And there are things I don't believe in. Let's say one I don't believe at all, and that's these people that believe that the royalties are lizards, for instance. That's I just can't believe. That's, I think, about the only thing I really can't believe, because anything else can be possible in a way nowadays. Well, I know what I believe. I believe in the Bible, in God's word, but there are a lot of stuff coming after that it's not addressed straight in the Bible as well. And then there are this. I don't really believe that the Earth is flat. But on the other hand, I have not been in space, so I can't tell. There are some people that have quite convincing evidence, or what you to call it. They kind of count with the time when you fly. I don't know how you count these things, so I can't say about this thing as well, but it sounds quite, I don't know, I find it hard to believe that the Earth is flat. Why? I don't know. Maybe after a while I will believe. You never know, but I don't believe it for now. The moon landing, I don't really care. A while ago I would say definitely, oh, for sure, the moon landing happened. They filmed it. How you can say it wasn't a moon landing? But now again, I mean, of course they can fake it. Why wouldn't they be able to fake the moon landing? They faked so much else. They faked all the history we learn in school. So I mean, there's not much thing we can take for granted any longer. There's everything is tampered with to design this state regime, global state regime in a way that we are heading towards. And sometimes it's very painful to have realized this. That's, I think, the second time. That's I forgot to tell you. That's what scared me. They was actually, I thought they had surveillance on me, and of course they do. They have surveillance on everyone, and I don't know how I have this trouble with the technology. I don't know from where it's coming. I know where it started with. It started with my ex, but some things it seems unreasonable. I did believe for a while that he was working with some. I was thinking he worked with some organized criminals, because it seems so synchronized in a way and much bigger. And he was talking to somebody. I just couldn't figure out for what reason. And now I can see it. If they really, that must be accidental or coincidental. If there are some surveillance, I don't know. maybe there is spiritual. I don't know that either. Is this metaphysics, and this is... I can't really say, because we can never know. We can never know what really happens in these different dimensions around us. I do believe that, as well as God mostly work through logic and reason and humans and physical laws and so forth. I do believe, I'm sure of, that even the devil does. But now again, the devil's got a big weapon now, a tool, that it's very easily to... I mean, it's get mixed up. We can't see the microwaves, and we can't see the spiritual world around us. So it's difficult to distinct what is what in a way, and what is actually people behind, and what is like... I mean, it's more possible to... It's difficult to find it. It can only be one person in a way. It's difficult to prove that something is happening with your... that's the weird thing. If I try to show somebody things happen, there is nothing there to show. And I can actually make my new account and this, but then again, after a while I'm locked out again. And yeah, well, it's weird. Anyway, it's possible as well as it's possible for God to sometimes make a pure miracle when needed. Of course, it's possible for the devil as well. But I'm not going to get into it too much now. And I just blah 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 this time. I don't know really, but I want to get used to use... I'm using the camera to kind of speak out what I have in my mind, what I'm going through in all this, because I'm kind of just waking up. I'm trying to get into this, and again, I got very isolated. There's a lot of things happen, and friends moved away, and I lost the ability to go somewhere for different reasons to date. Now, yes, that's another thing. No, I'm not going to say that, because I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but everything's been difficult unless you have the computer. I noticed that some things you cannot use cash any longer, and it's not automatically like computerized the way it was some years ago. No, now you have to sign in, and you have to pay with your credit card, and it's we're heading towards this cashless system, and it's going fast. And for the time being, it's kind of difficult, because I can't really use my card. So I have to use cash, and sometimes it's make my life quite complicated and difficult. But I have faith, and God is going to get me through this as well. And well, as Christians, we are coming to one point, and I don't know if it's in my lifetime, but it's everything accelerating so quickly right now. So we do know we once will reach a point when we have to step away from the system and refuse to be a part of it. We know this because the Bible says so. So I'm just glad I can make this video for the time being. And as I said before, I'm sorry about the bad quality. That's because I used to film with my camera or even my phone had better picture, but I can't do that now. Now I have my son's school computer that I borrow from him. He's not home for the time being, and my own computer, I couldn't use it. It was, I couldn't get I couldn't get online. Yeah, I was out. I got locked out from my accounts, most of them, but then I couldn't even use the computer. It was like completely, it went nuts in a way. So that's why I have this awful camera, and I apologize, and I hope I will be able to get the technology in order. Anyway, I'm going to bed. I always think I'm going to make the video in the daytime, and then I end up doing it in the nighttime anyway. So, but that's how it is. Now, folks, until next time, take care out there. Listen to your intuition, and think your own thoughts. God bless you.